You guys came already? Okay, so we can start now. As we were at anti-vortex plate, which must need to be installed in the suction tank of water supply to minimize the turbulence in the water flowing into the pipe. Now, what is the anti-vortex plate? I'll discuss in the next page. You can see at the screen we have the anti-vortex plate assembly, right? And this is a water tank. The first one is the water tank. The second is the tank wall. The third one is the reinforcement plate. And this, the one you can see in the red, is the anti-vortex plate. Now, what is the use of anti-vortex plate in the fire protection water suction tank? Let's say with water fire protection pump taking water from this tank, suction supply tank, above ground or surface level tank, and when the water level falls from the top of the tank and comes nearby this the connection to the suction supply, right? The What is the meaning of vortex? The meaning of vortex, next time you go to your wash basin, open your nozzle, right? Full your basin and then close. Now you notice that when water is almost about to empty from the basin, you can see some sound, right? Some whirling sound, and that time there is more turbulence flow. What is the reason behind that? When the basin is full, the water is going smoothly in the in the drain, there is no problem. But when there is only a small quantity of water at the bottom of the basin, at that time, along with the flow, there is a air introduced into the system. So that we call a vortex flow, or due to that there will be that is a turbulence flow. Now, if that condition, let's say this tanks running for 5 hours continuous, all the water consumed, now only we have water up to this level, and at this level, if the pump is still running, we have water supply along with the air. Now the air will come along with the waters, and that air, when coming into the eye of the impeller of the fire pump, that will cause the cavitation. Now cavitation is not good for the fire pumps. It will reduce the capacity of the pump. It may be damage the impellers. So to avoid that connection, we need anti-vortex plate. This is what we're discussing. And the next page, we can see the of the anti-vortex plate. How we have to install? Let's say this is a tank, right? And this is our connection to the pump. Okay. This is normally a plate, right? The anti-vortex plate, like a steel plate, we can see in the previous figure. This is a steel plate, right? And this plate should be a square plate or maybe a circle. Here we have a plate of 2D into 2D. What is the meaning of 2D? It is mean the 2 times of the diameter of the pipe. Let's say this pipe is a 6-inch pipe, right? So this vortex plate will be like 12-inch by 12-inch square. And at the center of the vortex, there will be opening of the 6-inch for passage of the water from this line. And the plate shall be installed at least half the diameter or 6 inches greater than the bottom of the tank. Now, if this is the tank, okay, the vortex plate we have here, right, should be at least 6 inches above the bottom of the tank or half the diameter of the pipe, whichever is the greater. And this is a rectangular shape. Let's say this is a vortex plate, and at the center, most probably it is not at the center, but erase. Let me erase that one. Let's say this is a square vortex plate, and the is a square vortex plate, and we have opening at this location, right? So if we are using this arrangement, we can avoid the turbulence flow. So next time you are going to see your wash basin, just notice the sound coming from the wash basin, and that is the air intake along with the water, and that causes cavitation. Now coming to the piping, what is the piping requirement as for NFPA 24 for the underground piping and for the above piping, right? For the underground pipe, we should have all the piping as for NFPA 24, which is for installation for underground firewater mains, private firewater mains. Underground pipe can be ductile iron, concrete pipe, plastic, brass, copper pipes, any kind of the pipe we can use in the underground applications. For the above ground pipe, it shall meet as for the requirement of NFPA 13 and NFPA 20. It might be ferrous piping, copper piping, CPVC, brass piping, or stainless steel. Keep in mind, carbon steel pipe or steel pipe we cannot use for the underground underground condition. Can anyone tell why we cannot use the carbon steel pipe, the one we are normally using for the above ground fire protection system in the underground locations? Anyone?
Yeah, that will be due to the corrosion that will be associated with underground carbon steel.
Yeah, exactly. Due to the corrosion, we cannot use the carbon steel pipe for the underground locations. It's very costly if you want to install that one. This is something like it is not feasible for fire protection system. The best option for that, you can go with the ductile iron or some of the RTR plastics pipe. For the above ground, we can go with the all those kind of the option as for NFPA 13. Where listed pipe is used, it shall be installed in accordance with the listing limitation, including installation instruction. Listed piping means, shall be listed by UL or FL, FM Global. Normally, we are talking about the plastics pipe, CPVC pipe, PVC pipe, or RTR pipe should be listed, shall be installed as per the guidelines of the installation instructions. Now, if you are choosing some pipe for underground pipe installation, we should know what is the type, what is the class of pipe, and what is the other factor that we need to consider. The first one we have to consider what is the maximum working pressure, right? Your underground fire protection system rated for some pressure. You cannot go beyond that pressure. If you are going beyond that, your system will maybe collapse. Your system will leak at the turning T, or it will not work in good condition. For most of the time, underground firewater, as for NFPA studies says, 150 psi is more than enough for most of the areas. If you are going above 150 psi, then you have to consider a piping of higher pressure ratings. It means it will increase the installation cost of your project. But again, I think 150 psi for the underground is the basic requirement. No system need more than that pressure. Let's say a fire hydrant, right? A fire hydrant need 100 psi for 2.5 inch connection. Fire hydrant 2.5 inch connection. If you are flowing full water at 250 GPM or 500 GPM, we need 100 psi pressure at that location. So even after loss, also we can get that much pressure in those areas. So the maximum system working pressure. Second one is the maximum pressure from pressure surge and anticipated frequency of surge. No, sometimes pressure go up and down, and we have to be careful. Pressure shall not go more than the density design capacity of the piping. Let's say there is a gate valve or isolation valve in your fire protection system. NFPS or any hydraulic institute says that the valve cannot close within 5 seconds. You said you should take at least 5 seconds to close your gate valve, right? Because there is a flow in the piping. If you close your valve within 2 or 3 seconds, what will happen? Suppose this is water is coming from this side at high speed, going to that side, right? you suddenly close your valve. What will happen? Water is moving at some velocity and there is a mass, right? The momentum of water is suddenly stopped there. Now what where will put that one? The pressure and all, because the volume of the pipe is constant, the pressure will rise at that location and that will damage the piping, integrity of the piping. This is the case. This is the same concept like you are doing your, let's say in another word, just a basic explanation. The momentum, right? You are driving your car at very high speed, suddenly you applied your, yeah, hammer effect. You suddenly driving your car at high speed and you just stopped your car with high, you applied brake instantly, your car will move here and there. I mean, that is very dangerous, right? So here also the momentum problem. Point number third, what is the depth of the pipe to be installed, right? Yeah, we have to consider the depth of the pipe. Suppose your installation is for the city area, in the street, or this is crossing the road, or it is crossing the railways areas. We have to be careful regarding that, because your pipe should withstand the load coming from the road or from the railway above your piping. What is the soil condition? Some, very corrosive soil condition. We have to make sure what the condition of the soil. Corrosion is also one of the key factor we have to keep in mind. External load from the earth or from the building or traffic or vehicle loads, we have to consider all along with before designing the system. Why now there is a question, why ductile iron pipe cement lined? Ductile iron pipe, if there is a cement line inside or outside of the pipe, it will reduce the corrosion of the pipe, because the corrosion will not go onto the cement pipe. But if it is going on the ductile, it might be a corrosive. So to minimize that one, must in the underground fire water network, most of the time there might be some of the lining. Here we have the cement lining in our case. Now, what is the difference between ductile and cast iron? The basic difference, if you are turning this, if it will like rubber, it means it is ductile. Yeah, ductile, and it will break suddenly. It is brittle, right? This glass is a brittle material, right? If you break, it will break instantly because there is no flexibility into that one. So this is the difference between ductile iron and cast iron. If you hammer on a cast iron, it will break instantly. But if you hammer a ductile material, it will expand. It will not break very easily. So this is the basic difference between that one. Ductile you can make ductile iron into different shapes, but the cast iron we cannot make. And again, cast iron corrode easily compared to the ductile iron. So if you are looking for the corrosion protection, we are about to go for the ductile iron. And in most of the case, yes, I have. Can you guys hear me, or there is a problem with my sound?
It's clear now.
Yeah, it's clear, right?
It's clear, it's clear, clear.
Okay. So this is just basic. This is just basic differentiation between ductile iron and the cast iron, and again, it is the based on the location and the type of the soil condition, corrosivity, and the load. We can go with that. Now this expansion joint, right? The purpose of the expansion joint, it shall place immediately above the foot elbow or shall be connected to the tank bottom using welding of for a steel tank and bolt or special screw fit things for a wood tank. What is the idea of the expansion joint? What will happen? Let's say there is a two surface, right? On this one there is a pump. On this one there is a tank, right? Now this tank and the pump connected at the same level, right? The piping coming from the tank to the impeller of the pump is at the same level. When it's designed, installed, maybe after years, 1 year, 2 years, the level of the tank going down, right? Or maybe the level of the pump going down. and the piping is totally connected. Now, if there is no expansion joint, there is no a means of a flexible joint or flexible connection, the pipe will break, right? But if there is something like this expansion joint, it will give a little bit of vertical. It will adjust the alignment. It will make pipe something like this and there without breaking. So why NFPA fire protection handbook says you should place uh, in the suction supply. If there is suction supply, what is the suction supply? If the water, if this connection is at the level of the water or above the level of the water, below the level of the water, we need this one so that it will minimize the vertical misalignment and without any damage to the suction piping. If you are not putting that one for the suction supply or above ground storage tank, maybe by time to time, the foundation will go down or maybe the tank will go down and the piping will break. So NFPA handbook says we have to keep two expansion joint, one directly soon after the tank, nearby the tank, and one soon after the pump, the suction area, to minimize this kind of the situation. It's clear, right? Expansion joint. Now there is a filling, right? Your tank need to be filled, and that tanks, as NFPA 20 NFPA says that the tank should be filled within 8 hours. Suppose your tanks after the fire totally empty, right? This tank must be filled within 8 hours after the empty of the tank, and the tank shall be kept filled, and the water level shall never be more than 4 inches below the designated fire service level, right? Now this is a water bottle, right? And the water is up to this level, right? Now in this tank, if the in this bottle the water is up to this one, let's say this is a full water. This water is full. Okay, this bottle is full with the water, and this is for fire protection system. This is a fire protection system tank, and the full capacity. This is the full capacity of the requirement for the fire in case of the fire. It cannot go below 4 inch from the top in any case. Of the demand, it shall go only this much below the total demand of the system, but cannot be go below that one, because we need always tank level to be filled for our fire protection system. The idea is that that the one idea is that that if it is 4 inch below the uh, level of the design, it is acceptable. 4 inch is just like 100 mm. It's not more, and if easily with the filling capacity. So what is the maximum allowable time to fill the tank as per 22? Yeah, exactly 8 hours. Okay, now we come to the brake tanks. The brake tanks, we need brake tanks only when we are taking water from the public water supply, right? We said the public water supply. What is the public water supply? Suppose there is your house or there is one residential complex, and that residential complex taking water not from the storage tank, but they are taking water direct from the public water supply that is available 24/7 by water provider. Let's say in Saudi Arabia there is a Marafiq, and in our houses there is always water. There is no chance that water will go off from the system, and it is a reliable source, right? From the reliable source. So at that time, we may not need the big tanks. We just need a brake tanks because we have always connection to the public water supply. So there are three concerns. We need to put brake tanks between the public water supply and our fire pump, right? I will just let you know what is public water supply. Okay. Let me go to the blackboard again. let's say this is a Marafiq water connection in Saudi Arabia, supplying water to Jubail and Yambu, Royal Commission for Jubail and Yambu, and from the same, we are taking water, right, for our fire protection system. This is the main Marafiq connection for all the household in Yambu and Jubail for the utilities purpose, and we are taking connection for this one to our utilities also for drinking, and the same water we are using for fire protection system. So we have to put a break tank here, right? And then from the break tank, with the water is going to the fire pump. Now, what is the idea with the idea of this break tank is that, you know, in the main water line, based on the time to time, the pressure go up and down, and that pressure fluctuation is not good for our fire pump. You know, if the pressure go up and down, maybe the fire protection driver condition will time to time it will change. It will go high and low. The RPM will change by time to time, and that is not good for our fire protection system. So this is the first one we can use the brake tank for that applications. Now this brake tanks, you know, the capacity of the brake tank shall be only only 15 minutes. Capacity, the volume of the water in the brake tank shall be only 15 minutes of the supply at 150% of the pump capacity. Because the water from the Marafiq we are getting continuously. So if there is a fire, the tank has started at the same time the tank getting filled, and we are taking water from the tank. So this is the arrangement of the for brake tank. You know, this is how brake tanks work. Now I'll go back to the slide again. So the first one to avoid the backflow device between the city water supply and the fire pump. If you don't want backflow system, if you don't want backflow supply, backflow prevention device, you can use the fire pump say of this brake tank. Now, what is the backflow device? I will just draw here the backflow. You know, it's like a device which consists two check valves. Check valve 1, check valve 2, water going from this side to our fire pump. This is our Marafiq connection, right? We are getting water from the Marafiq. It's a reliable source, 24/7. We are getting that one. And this backflow prevention is that, you know, it's continuously. This is a check valve, means the check valve will only go in one direction. It will never go in the backward direction. So the fire pump in this side maybe the fire pump, if start the fire pump, it will push so much pressure that without the backflow device, the water from the fire water tank may go to the public water supply like Marafiq. Now we know we have non-potable water for fire protection purpose. We are not maintaining it, and if that water coming to our drinking or our utilities or hygienic condition, it is not good for us. So to avoid the backflow prevention, we can keep the day tank, the first one. The second point is that, you know, to avoid the pressure fluctuation in the Marafiq line, maybe the pressure go up and down. So based on that, maybe our pump will also go up and down. The driver will run at higher RPM sometime and run at lower RPM at some time. We now doing that, there might be some problem. And the third one is maybe the city water supply sometime inadequate for the fire protection system. Now it shall be also as for NFPA 22. Construction of the tanks will be as for NFPA 22. Now we have the overflow. Yes.
Mr. Ravi?
Yeah.
Yeah, the backflow device, prevention device is two check valve.
Yeah, we'll discuss that one in next module after the Sala. We have been the next module it is there. Yeah, two check valve is there and two gate valve, not one. We will discuss that one after in next slide. Now we have the overflow connection. If the tank fill more than its capacity, the water must go outside. So there should be an overflow connection at the top of the tank, and it should be at least minimum 3 inch in 3 inch the size of the piping. And for more detail of the overflow, you can go to the NFPA 22 regarding the connection of the tank. Now this is again the things that this should be designed by the tank manufacturing company, right? They should design where to keep the overflow connection and all. Dual service tanks, right? If you are using this, let's suppose this is a tank, right? This is a tank, and there's the same tank you are using for your utilities, for plumbing works and another kind of work, and the same tank you are using for the fire protection system. Now, suppose this water bottles, right? Up to this level, we need fire protection water up to this level. Let's say this is 500,000 GPM. We need up to this level, and the same tank we are going to use for the plumbing works or other kind of the utilities in the plant or for any purpose. You are not allowed to keep the connection below that one. That connection you should keep after that, up the top, this level only. The reason for that, in any case, the water supply for the fire protection system cannot go below the design duration. So if you are keep it like that, and there is no issue with that one. You got the point?
Yeah, so it's like a mechanical reservation of the water, right? So
yeah, water will be solely reserved for the fire pump at the bottom of the connection, and the top should be for the plumbing and utilities work. Again, it should be allowed by the authorities having jurisdictions, and it is not allowed in most of the case, but it is allowed in the SABIC. As for the SCAs, they allowed this kind of arrangement that utilities and the fire water you can use.
Yeah.
But there is problem with that. We know that our fire protection pump, our fire pumps only run in case of the fire or during the testing of the fire protection system. What is the problem with the same tank you are using continuous, right? You are using continuous the same tank for the utilities and plumbing. There might be some kind of the foreign materials always coming and overhanging the tank. So the tank is not contaminated. And the tank is now contaminated with some of the dirt, particles, or environmental pollution inside the water. Now, those water will go into the fire protection system, let's say in a sprinkler system or a spray nozzles. They will block maybe the sprinkler system orifice, which is very small, or spray nozzle orifice, which is very small. That should be keep in the mind while doing those considerations.
Clear.
And inspection, testing, and maintenance of all water-based fire protection systems should be as for NFPA 25. NFPA 25 is solely for inspection for water-based fire protection system. Regarding the air pressure, check valve, everything from the suction piping to from the water storage tank to the suction of the fire pumps. If you are looking for this one, you have to go to NFPA 25, and this table is there in your handbook also. But I think You have to read the NFPA 25 for complete details. Now I think here comes with the end of the module 1. Module 2 we can start after 9 minutes from now, 6:40. Now I think it's a call, right?